I am so excited and honored to be able to share a part of my story with you, and I'm just happy to be here. I hope you're happy to be here, and I'm really going to try to be very concise and to the point because I know it's almost lunchtime and you're like, I hope you don't say, I wish you would just shut up. So today I'm going to be talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart. We're going to be talking about money. But first, I want to show you my family. I am married to my childhood sweetheart, as you heard, and these are our three kiddos. Ridley is 10, Cameron is 6, and Nora is 3. We love our wild homeschooling country life. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about money, and it might make you a little bit uncomfortable. It might make you think, this is not a very fun topic, but growth happens outside our comfort zones. So today, we're going to do some growing. I believe we should talk about the deep impact that money can have on our hearts and in our lives. So money is not a dirty word. It is a microphone. You might also imagine that money is a magnifying glass or an amplifier. I believe that when you have financial abundance, it often gives humans greater influence. This can be a good thing, or it can be not such a good thing. Ultimately, your platform of influence reveals the real you. For better or for worse, that's just how it is. You may be thinking, well, yeah, you're a Royal Crown Diamond. Of course you want to talk about money. If you've seen the income disclosure, I can understand why you might think that. But first, I want you to hear my story and my heart. I believe with my entire being that we can be absolutely, completely passionate and driven to help people and also care about money. If you're a believer, money printed your Bible. If you're not a believer, money printed your favorite book. Money hangs mosquito nets in Uganda and rescues women from sex trafficking. Money digs wells where people are dying of thirst. Money is a vehicle. It is a vehicle for good. It can also be a vehicle for things that are not so good. That contrast is what we're going to talk about today. So as I prepared this talk to share with you, I was reminded of my childhood and just how different my life could look like now because of the circumstances in which I grew up. We didn't have extra, but my parents faithfully instilled in me and my siblings a foundation of spiritual wealth that money cannot buy. It brings me to tears sometimes when I think about it because that is what I want for my children. That's what I want for the children of the world and the people in the world. Spiritual wealth, because that can never be taken from them. That is true freedom. I have the best childhood memories, but there are a few things you should know. There were times that my family and I ate out of dumpsters. We did. We ate expired day-old food. There were times that we survived on yogurt and pepperoni. No joke. We also had a very plentiful supply of free toilet paper. My dad was in seminary while also working a 40-hour-a-week lawn care job while my mom was at home with us. Dad would go to the grocery stores late at night in the back to see what they were throwing away. That's what he brought home for us. My mom did go to the grocery store, but she had a very, very limited budget. My parents were not neglectful. They were just doing the very best that they could with the resources that they had. When we moved to Alabama, we lived with my grandparents for a while before my parents purchased a mobile home. That's where I grew up, and it's where my parents still lived as of a few months ago. I will tell you more about that story in a little bit. My dad worked a 40-hour-a-week job while planting a church, while my mom homeschooled us, gave us amazing life experiences, and taught us to work hard. She taught us to get along with each other because she believed if we could get along, my siblings and I, if we could get along with each other, we could get along with and socially interact with anyone. She taught us to work hard. I grew up hoeing row after row after row of strawberries, digging potatoes, weeding the corn and the beans, canning, gardening, sewing, using my hands, and literally just watching my parents trust God to provide every step of the way. I knew money was tight, but when we wanted something or needed to do something, we figured out how to make it work. We figured out how to make money. My siblings and I made things out of nothing. Literally, we took old ice cream cartons, the plastic ones with handles, and we made them into beautiful baskets, padded baskets with fabric and lace. We also took blank newsprint and used sponge stamps with red and green and made Christmas wrapping paper. I seriously, bless the sweet souls who bought those things. I don't know why they did. But I don't ever remember my parents saying to me, we can't afford it. When I went to college to study interior design, I qualified for a special discount because my dad made less than $50,000 a year. You guys, he made much, much less than $50,000 a year. I worked my way through college and walked 15 minutes one way to work, Monday through Friday, as a first grade teacher's aide. I loved that job. I somehow graduated debt-free and had a great job waiting for me. My husband had a similar upbringing. He and his siblings grew up in a house, if you could even call it that. It was more like a metal shack. They could see their breath in the morning when they woke up in the wintertime. They huddled around the wood stove to stay warm after they had chopped the firewood. So why do I tell you all this? Why is this important? It's because I want you to know that no matter who you are, no matter what your background is, no matter what material possessions you have or don't have, anything is possible. You are capable of changing your legacy. You are capable of breaking free and creating abundance, because if we can, you can too. I'm not special. Ernie isn't special. We're normal people just like you. We came from nothing, and for some reason that we don't even understand, God put us on this path of abundance so we can do some really, really amazing, wonderful things in the world. The reality is that true abundance is not about financial wealth. There are some pretty rich, miserable billionaires out there, right? Abundance is all about being rich with or without financial wealth. And I want to say, just so y'all know, Chelsea didn't tell us what to talk about. Melissa and I didn't talk. And we have very similar concepts that we're bringing to you. And so I know that there are people here who need to hear this. The key to living a prosperous life in all areas is to invest our resources, our time, and our gifts into others. Because this is not about me. This is not about you. We are blessed to bless others right now, no matter how much or how little we have. So we're going to talk about scarcity mindset. Our country has the greatest opportunity of any country in the world for its people to have financial security, and yet it eludes so many. Why is that? No one saves their money. In fact, 38% of American households making $40,000 to $100,000 per year could not cover an emergency expense of $400 without going into debt. And this is from a 2015 report. So I would say it's probably even worse now. So I'm not just referring to real situations of genuine poverty where people are on welfare assistance and cannot cover their basic needs. I'm referring to people of all income levels who live with a poverty mindset. People who live paycheck to paycheck or live on even more than their actual income. Everyone has the opportunity to improve themselves and their income. Money isn't the answer. It's just part of the answer, because you can still make six figures and have a poverty mindset. Gandhi said poverty is a state of mind. Scarcity mindset is so destructive because it makes us feel like we are a helpless victim with no control, living as a spectator to our own destiny with no way out, instead of being an overcomer who is willing and able to put in the work. Our society is obsessed with quick fixes. There are no legitimate quick fixes to the situation in your pocketbook and your bank account. There's also no quick fix for your heart and your mindset. Some want to lose weight, but you have to exercise consistently and be intentional with what you put in your mouth. Quick fixes never keep the weight off, do they? Some want to have nice things which cost money. You have to consistently put in the work to actually build your income. I will tell you this, it's a secret. No one actually goes from star to Royal Crown Diamond sitting on their sofa, eating Wolfberry truffles and watching soap operas, and hoping their business grows. Nobody's business grows on hope. It grows on work. Some want to change the world by giving to many different charitable organizations around the world, but they aren't actually willing to put in the hard work, effort, energy, and actually lose sleep to actually build an income so that they can give big. Some people want to change their life on many different levels, but they just aren't willing to put in the actual blood, sweat, and tears that are required to change. And I've seen this over and over and over again. The opposite of diligence and wisdom is laziness, which tends to poverty. One of my friends and mentors, George Grant, says, if we insist that somebody else is responsible for our condition, then we will always be poor. Remember that even though I grew up what some would call poor, my parents never made us feel like we were poor. My mom was extremely frugal out of necessity. We hung clothes outside to dry, clipped coupons, used a wood-burning stove to heat the house, and shopped at thrift stores. But I never felt like we didn't have enough, because we all had immense gratitude for the things that we did have. And we didn't have jealousy or resentment toward people who had more. In contrast, somebody with a poverty mindset believes that they cannot or should not be wealthy. They likely feel undeserving or unworthy. This is a huge area of personal growth. So who is better off? The person who is near poverty level that works hard to make a better life for themselves and has a great attitude about life? Or the person who makes more than enough to meet their needs, but is bitter and angry toward those who have more and never feel like they have enough? Obviously, it's the former. A scarcity mindset can cause feelings of fear, anger, resentment, jealousy, and depression. It can also cause us to withdraw and go inside ourselves. Some symptoms of a poverty mindset are a victim mentality, which we've talked about, fear of spending, obsession with getting deals, guilt of sharing your success. Don't feel guilty when you have reached a new goal. Fear of boasting, no one else understands, and saying we can't afford it. Within Young Living, I see poverty mindset hold people back all the time from sharing, because we assume people would not want to be on Essential Rewards, that auto ship program. That's what I felt. That's what I did at the beginning. I thought, oh no, they don't want to be on this. Essential Rewards is the best thing since sliced bread. So how dare we hold that information back from somebody because we're prejudging whether they're willing and ready to jump on ER. Everybody needs to do that. Poverty mindset holds us back from advancing in rank because we sabotage ourselves believing we don't deserve recognition for our hustle. You guys, your success means your team is succeeding. Your rank advancement means that you are impacting more families. Your paycheck increase means that your team members are helping more and more and more people. Don't let your limiting beliefs hold your members back from their personal potential. This also pertains to sharing with others who need to join this journey. Sometimes we assume that they don't have the money to spend. That mindset needs to take a hike because there are so many people in need and we have what they need. We have to become bold and stop pussyfooting around, dancing around the issue, and worrying that you're going to be salesy. You guys, we're in sales. You can embrace it and own it and be proud of it and share that boldly. So if you're struggling with poverty mentality, just know that you're not alone. I've been there at times. Everybody goes through seasons of feeling that way. But take responsibility where you are right now because there's no room for blaming others or justifying where you are. You are where you are, and just recognizing it is the first step to change. You can do this. You are where you are, and you get to change you. Own it. What you think on is what you become. This is both a biblical principle and a wonderful quote from Norman Vincent Peale, who said, "Change your thoughts, and you change your world." You are faced with a choice. You can live with limiting beliefs driving your life, like I just described, or you can choose to live differently. You can specifically, intentionally choose your mindset and therefore choose your success. Sometimes we have to choose to do the action before we actually feel like doing the action. I don't know if anybody came out of 2018 feeling like kind of tired, and you get into January and you're like, I need to do something, but I really don't feel like doing something. That's when you do something, because you're not, I love this quote. My precious friend, Darlene Weir, who is a Royal Crown Diamond on my team, she says, the belief that you can do it comes from doing it. You just have to do the next thing. So I believe that some of you are sitting here today needing to break free from this scarcity, not enough spirit of limitation that you have. This mentality has held you back. It has held you captive all your life. It cripples your passion. It shuts you up. It shuts you down and hinders your shine and kingdom purpose. You wonder how in the world you could be successful. You even fear success. You fear that having financial wealth because you fear having financial wealth because you've been influenced to believe that there is merit to being poor. That being poor is more spiritual or more holy than being wealthy. You may believe that money is the root of all evil. That's not true. It's the love of money, the worship of money, the focus only on money that is the root of all evil. Oh, my friends, today, this is the day of your freedom. This is the day for you to break free and to accept the good gifts that our good Father gives us with joy and acceptance, because it's not about our glory or our fame or our story. It's about His and what He can do with us and our hearts and our hands that are willing to put in the work. So let's talk a little bit about some secrets to building an abundance-driven, others-focused mindset. An abundance mindset causes feelings of joy, love, and optimism, and it helps us to be happy and successful in life, in our work, and in our relationships. We all do experience those feelings of scarcity from time to time, but it is always possible to continue to overcome them. The first thing is to be willing to work. This isn't the first time I've said this today. In order to change, you have to be willing to put in the work. This work involves changing the status quo. It involves sacrifice. It's not going to be easy because work is hard. Change is hard. You have to dig really, really deep to find your willingness to hustle. This is a willingness to move and to do. This is not a cute little mug that says hustle that you post on Instagram or a cute little sweatshirt that you wear that says hustle. That doesn't mean you're hustling, okay? You actually have to put action to the hustle. So this was instilled in me as a child, but that willingness to work has evolved into so much more. I had the foundation, but the why now is so much greater than myself. The why is others, helping others, blessing others. So what is your why? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to work on yourself? Are you willing to make sacrifices now so that you can build a legacy for your children and for your grandchildren? You need to. You must. The next thing is to change your language. This takes great intention because change is hard, right? Our thoughts and our words have so much power. The spoken language, the thought language, the written language that we use on a daily basis can shape your life. Whether it's conscious or subconscious, our words program and broadcast to the world what we believe. Our words form declarations and commitments. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, on what you lack, focus on, appreciate, and have immense gratitude for what you do have. You will automatically feel more abundant. You will appreciate the good and even the bad just a little bit more. Speak truth. Speak kindness. The saying that I grew up hearing occasionally, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, that's a lie. A pure lie. Because there is incredible power in our words and in our thoughts too. So what you think about is what you're going to talk about. So if you want to change what you talk about, you have to change what you think about. Eliminate thoughts and words of gossip and shame, hurtful criticism, all of that, so that your language will change. Replace them, those negative words, with gratitude, joy, happiness, excitement, and real, genuine love. Just love people. Because when we think right, we will speak right, and we will do right. Does your language tell negative stories of scarcity or positive stories of abundance? The next one is to live gratefully. Count your blessings and not your problems. I challenge each of you to not complain for 7 days. Not even in your head. It's really hard, but you can do it. Use gratitude oil. So gratitude, having gratitude and complaining, they don't work together. They can't be in harmony. So if you're going to choose to be grateful, you're also choosing not to complain. The emotion of gratitude is directly connected to abundance mentality. Make a list of all the good stuff in your life. Are you surrounded by people that you love? Do you have a house, a car, other things that you enjoy? What do you feel blessed to have in your life? Place so much more emphasis on what you do have, and as your energy shifts, you will attract more of it. like attracts like. So if you don't like who you're attracting to your business or your life, then work on changing you. The next thing is to choose joy and happiness. When you have an abundance mentality, you are more often than not an optimist. Someone who genuinely is happy for the success of others. How do you feel when someone gets a pay raise and you didn't? How do you feel when someone gets a new car and you're still driving your 200,000-mile clunker? How do you feel when you see someone on this amazing vacation while you're slaving away at your 60-hour-a-week job? How do you feel when you see someone else rank up? You get to choose how you think and how you feel because nobody else gets to do that for you. You're in charge of that. Choosing joy and happiness for others is selfless joy. It's not fake. If you're like me, you can spot fake from a mile away. This kind of joy is real and deep and refreshing. Instead of seeing the success of others as competition, you look at everything through a lens of abundance, that there is more than enough for everyone. There are plenty of people in the world to share Young Living with. The market isn't saturated. If you think that, your thinking is wrong. Less than 0.5% of the US population actually use Young Living, so go sell some oils. When things are tough, always look for the good. I have never once regretted choosing to be genuinely joyful and happy for others, even in the face of adversity. Number 5 is to be extravagantly generous. Generosity does not always come to us naturally as humans because we tend to be centered on ourselves. I love this quote from Chris Balaton. In order to change the economic level of your life, you have to give when you are in need, when it is inconvenient, and when you don't feel like it. So today, if you are in need, if it's inconvenient and you don't feel like it, today's your day to give. Generosity was instilled in me at an early age because my parents never turned a single person away. We, a family of 7, lived in a 16-foot wide mobile home. We had more company than you can possibly imagine. We had preachers, missionaries, and even the Prime Minister of Northern Ireland. We worked as a team to bless other people. I watched my dad give his time to help neighbors, friends, coworkers. My mom and I, my siblings, we made Christmas cookies and took them to neighbors we had never met. We were just always doing something for someone. I don't know how in the world we hosted a family of 15 one time. No idea. Because now we were in mom and dad's house and we're like, how did we fit 15 more people in this house? But it seemed like there was plenty of space. I believe from the bottom of my heart that the secret is this: a generous spirit always makes room at the table. There is room at the table of Young Living. There is room at the top. There is room for you because you can't ever outgive the giver of all. It's impossible. So how can you begin fostering a spirit of generosity in your life right now? Not in a few years when you hit whatever rank you want to hit, not in a few years when you're out of debt, but right now, how are you going to give? I'm going to read a short story from this book. It's called Poverty, Riches, and Wealth. It is an amazing story. There was once an old barefoot peasant walking down the side of a dirt road. He was haggard, destitute, weathered, and unkempt. He was carrying a small wooden bowl of rice. Holding the bowl close to his face, he was carefully scraping each kernel of rice into his mouth with his bare hands. Suddenly, the sound of 100 horses filled the air. The peasant glanced up from his bowl to observe the commotion. A thick dust cloud stretched to the heavens, shading the sun's rays from the wretched man's eyes. Yet he perceived through the dust a large, shiny gold chariot encompassed by an entourage of beautiful horses ridden by knights in glistening armor. As the chariot approached, the ground trembled from the pounding of the horses' hooves, and the cloud of dust covered the peasant's weary head. He pulled his tattered shawl over his weathered face to shield his eyes from the onslaught, and maybe to hide his face in shame. He cursed the king's entourage under his breath, grumbling about the gall of the rich man's inconsiderate arrogance. The mere pace of the king's entourage and the breadth of his train stuck in the craw of the poor peasant's heart. Abruptly, the chariot came to a halt beside the peasant. The old peasant peered carefully through his shawl, waiting for the dust to pass over him. The wealthy king, his crown gleaming with jewels, slowly opened the door of his chariot. The peasant hid his face in shame as the rich king graciously spoke. "May I have some of your rice, please?" the king requested, to the bewilderment of everyone. The peasant lifted his shawl over his face as if retreating into a private inner office to contemplate his situation. As he mumbled something under his breath, his shaky hand emerged reluctantly from beneath his shawl, carefully measuring 3 kernels of rice into the king's hand. The king, filled with gratitude, kindly thanked the old peasant. Then he opened his treasure chest and slowly counted out 3 gold coins, placing each of them carefully in the peasant's outstretched hand. As the king's entourage began moving again and made its way past the peasant, he ripped off his ragged outer garments and, tossing them to the ground, he yelled, "Oh, that I would have given him the whole bowl of rice." The moral of the story is clear. Your level of generosity determines the level of blessing in your life. Okay, now I want to talk briefly about when money is a negative microphone. I love these 2 quotes. There's 2. The first one is by Tim Ferriss. Money doesn't change you. It reveals who you are when you no longer have to be nice. And the next one is by Henry Ford. Money doesn't change men. It merely unmasks them. If a man is naturally selfish or arrogant or greedy, the money brings that out. That's all. If you're a rude person and you gain financial abundance, you'll still be rude, just louder. If you're unkind, you'll still be unkind. If you're insecure and self-centered, you'll still be insecure and self-centered. It'll just hurt and impact more people. If you're a jerk now, you'll be even jerkier to more people. I could go on, but do you see the pattern? Who you are is who you still are, even when you have financial abundance. Money just gives you a microphone to be seen and heard by more people. Who you really are. So who are you today? Are you ready for a microphone? When money is a positive microphone is what we're going to talk about now, and this is my favorite. I've heard Mary Young, our incredible CEO, say many times, a lot of money in the hands of good people can change the world. I love this company. I love the opportunity for anyone to achieve their dreams. It's possible for you. I love the heart behind the Young Living Foundation, the mission to give and make the world a better place, the passion to change communities, provide jobs, and education. I feel so blessed to know so many incredible people within Young Living who have the most generous hearts that I know. From digging wells for clean water, rescuing girls from sex trafficking, to supporting mamas and women in third world countries who are making jewelry, making pottery, all of those things. This is how we change the world. Young Living is the vehicle that allows us to do this. So how do you give back? How are you going to contribute real change to our needy world? Gary Young began this journey with intense passion to help people. It wasn't to make a name for himself. It wasn't so his company could reach billions of dollars in sales. It wasn't so he could say, look at me, look what I've done. See my success and how awesome I am? It was because his heart's desire was to change the world one life at a time, one drop of oil at a time, by getting essential oils into every home in the world. This legacy of greatness, yes, financial greatness, is founded on humble, servant-hearted, others-focused love. The success that Young Living has magnifies the heart, legacy, and passion of its founder. Money does not buy happiness. Money doesn't make you a better person. It just reveals who you truly are. That person you try to keep behind closed doors, that person you try to keep in the closet where nobody can see, that is the person that money reveals. Even if you don't mean for it to, it will, I promise. I love this quote from John Templeton. He said, happiness comes from spiritual wealth, not material wealth. Happiness comes from giving, not getting. If we try hard to bring happiness to others, we cannot stop it from coming to us also. To get joy, we must give it. To keep joy, we must scatter it. So if you're sitting there today and you feel like you have no chance at ever making a difference, I want you to understand this. You have an opportunity right in front of you to make a difference. Your life doesn't need to be like your parents or your grandparents, because it's your life. And if there's a cycle or a pattern that needs to be broken, you are the one to do it. You are the one to break free from that. You can do it. Your children and your grandchildren deserve for you to do it. I want to jump back in and finish telling the story about my parents' house. A few years ago, my husband and I purchased my Mima's house. That's the one on that side. And this is where my parents lived right here in the mobile home. That's where I grew up. My husband and I invested a lot into renovating and fixing up Mima's house to make it our own. We had amazing plans to do an addition, and we were just going to renovate the entire thing. We had one problem. The foundation would not stop moving. Even after 2 different foundation companies came in, still wouldn't work. So we were at a crossroads. We weren't sure what to do. The sentimental value was great. We weren't sure if we should demo it or if we could move it. That seemed like an incredibly daunting task. But we finally decided to move it, but we didn't know where. So one morning I woke up and I knew the answer. We would give it to my parents, who still lived in their sweet mobile home that I grew up in. That cozy house had the best memories, and it was hard to let it go, but my parents have done so bravely. I've always dreamed, even since I was a little girl, I dreamed of building my parents a house, so Mom could have a dining room that she always said that she would have in heaven. This gift that we have through Young Living has allowed Ernie and me to bless, encourage, love on, and help so many. It's hard to talk about without becoming emotional. This hustle is worth it. The time investment that is required to succeed is worth it. It's worth it to be able to bless others, love each other, love others, and cheer each other on. It's worth it to have opportunities like this to encourage you today. We must have a vision for the future, an abundant vision of generations building on previous generations as world changers. If we don't start making a difference now with our families, who will? We get the honor of impacting generations to come, not only with financial abundance, but spiritual abundance, physical abundance, and financial abundance. All of the abundance. We have incredible wealth in our oil-infused products, and wellness lifestyle to change generations. We have to embrace that and live that and share it boldly. And I know, sometimes the microphone is scary. I get it. I don't care if you have a lot or you have a little, you have a microphone. Everyone does. What story does your microphone say about you? What legacy will you leave? Will your legacy be all about you? Will your legacy be all about blessing others? I want you to know right here, right now, that all the thoughts and lies in your head right now telling you that you are not cut out for this and you can't do it, and all those thoughts of unworthiness, they're lies, pure lies. I have news for you today. You are cut out for this. You are made for such a time as this, right now. You can do it. You were made to do it. You are worthy of the hustle. You are valuable. Your story is valuable and needed. The world needs to hear your story. You are capable of hard work and the blessing of abundance. You are worth investing in. You are worth the personal development facing you so that your growing money microphone magnifies grace, generosity, servant-heartedness, and love. Your dreams of helping and blessing the world one life at a time are worth the lost sleep and the sacrifices that you have made and that you will have to make. You are worthy of abundance, crazy, insane, ridiculous, God-sized abundance that will make tears stream down your face in complete awe. Join me today in saying yes. Yes to abundance. Yes to blessing others. Yes to showing up brave. Yes to your worth and value. Yes to building a generational legacy of abundance. Thank you.
Woo!